The galactic assembly was abuzz with tension, an atmosphere rarely seen among the oldest and wisest species of the galaxy. The topic of concern was humanity, a species discovered only decades ago, residing on a small, unremarkable planet called Earth. Initial observations had classified them as primitive, a fledgling civilization barely scratching the surface of interstellar travel. But further analysis had revealed something far more disturbing. They lacked the natural defenses that most sentient species evolved. Their physical bodies were fragile compared to the chitin-covered Zilnax or the energy-dense Ethran. They had no natural weapons, unlike the razor-sharp appendages of the Croth. Yet, despite their physical inferiority, humans thrived. In environments too harsh for most species to endure, humanity not only survived but flourished. They lived in deserts that scorched the ground, tundras that froze bone and blood, and jungles that teemed with deadly predators. An Ethran scientist spoke first. Their resilience defies logic. On their planet, natural disasters occur with regularity. Earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions. Most civilizations would retreat to safer regions, but humans rebuild. Every time. They do not retreat. They adapt. A Zilnax commander countered. Adaptation alone does not explain their history of conflict. These creatures have waged war against themselves for millennia. We intercepted transmissions documenting their wars, an unbroken chain of violence spanning their recorded history. No species has ever demonstrated such capacity for destruction, not even during the height of the Croth Empire. What kind of civilization sees innovation in suffering and death? The room murmured in agreement. It was a terrifying paradox. Humanity's technological progress often stemmed from war, yet they claimed to value peace. Unlike other species who fought only under existential threat, humans seemed to fight for ideology, resources, and, at times, seemingly nothing more than pride. Another delegate spoke, their voice tinged with disbelief. They harness firepower on scales unimaginable. The splitting of the atom. Do you know what they did with this discovery? They turned it into a weapon before using it to generate energy. They wielded this power against their own kind and rebuilt their world from the ashes. The assembly fell silent as a hologram displayed humanity's defining moments. Soldiers marching through trenches, mushroom clouds rising into the sky, cities rebuilt in record time after catastrophic wars. It wasn't just their capacity for destruction that alarmed the galaxy. It was their ability to endure and grow stronger. A Croth historian added grimly, the humans' history suggests something we cannot ignore. Unlike us, they do not see war as an aberration. It is a tool, a process they refine with every generation. And when united against a common threat, they become unstoppable. Consider the implications of such a species expanding into the galaxy. A final voice, calm but ominous, echoed through the chamber. Their greatest weapon is not their machines nor their tactics. It is their capacity for change. We evolve over millennia. They evolve within lifetimes. Their strength lies in their unpredictability. The assembly voted unanimously. Humanity was to be monitored and, if necessary, contained. But deep down, every delegate knew the truth. They were already too late. The battlefield was chaos. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, scorching the landscape, while explosions erupted in deafening roars. Amid the carnage, a human soldier crouched behind a battered piece of alien machinery. His breathing steady despite the overwhelming odds. His armor was scratched, his weapon nearly depleted of ammunition, but his focus remained unshaken. He wasn't thinking about survival, he was thinking about winning. Human soldiers were outnumbered 10-1, their alien adversaries boasting advanced technology that made Earth's most cutting-edge weapons look like relics. Yet here they were, holding their ground. The soldier glanced at his unit, scattered across the terrain. They were an odd mix, veterans hardened by countless skirmishes, engineers wielding makeshift devices, and medics who fought as fiercely as they healed. Each one played a role in a larger plan, one born not of superior technology but sheer adaptability. This wasn't the first time humanity had been underestimated. To their enemies, they seemed reckless, even desperate. They weren't bound by rigid protocols or chained to tradition. If a tactic failed, humans didn't retreat in despair. They improvised. What others saw as chaos, they turned into opportunity. The soldier adjusted a crude device strapped to his arm, a jury-rigged energy disruptor scavenged from enemy tech. It was untested, barely functional, and highly unstable. Perfect. He signaled to his team, a mix of hand gestures and subtle nods, and they moved as one. No words were needed. They had trained for this moment, knowing it might be their last. The alien forces, confident in their numerical superiority, advanced in tightly coordinated ranks. Their precision was impressive, but it was also predictable. The soldier activated the disruptor, unleashing a pulse that scrambled enemy targeting systems. Chaos erupted in their formation as weapons misfired and communication lines failed. It was a small window, but it was enough. His unit surged forward, exploiting the confusion with brutal efficiency. Humans fought with a ferocity that was unnerving to their adversaries. Where other species relied on overwhelming firepower, humans relied on ingenuity and raw determination. They turned the terrain to their advantage, using every hill, crevice, and piece of debris as cover. They didn't just fight to survive. They fought to outthink, outmaneuver, and overwhelm. The soldier's weapon finally ran dry, but he didn't stop. He switched to a blade, a simple tool by galactic standards, but in his hands, it became a weapon of terrifying precision. The aliens, unaccustomed to such close combat, faltered. Their advanced armor and energy shields offered little protection against the humans' unrelenting assault. Victory wasn't just about defeating the enemy. It was about proving something to the galaxy, to themselves. The soldier knew that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their weapons or their numbers. It was their spirit, their refusal to back down, and their ability to find a way forward, no matter the odds. As the last of the enemy forces retreated, the soldier looked at his unit. Exhausted, battered, but alive. They had won not because they were the strongest or the most advanced, but because they were human. The alien officer sat in silence, his features a blend of confusion and dread. He had faced countless species in battle, from the coldly efficient Kroth to the technologically superior Ethran, but none had prepared him for humanity. Now, bound and surrounded by human soldiers, he struggled to reconcile their outward appearance with the devastating force they wielded on the battlefield. What unnerved him most wasn't their weapons or tactics. It was their eyes. Unlike most species whose expressions were unreadable or distant in combat, humans carried an intensity that bordered on madness. Yet beneath that fire lay something even more unsettling: understanding. Humans fought not as machines but as beings who grasped the full weight of war. They fought with the knowledge of loss, pain, and mortality, and they wielded that understanding as a weapon. He had seen it firsthand. Their resilience was unlike anything his species had ever encountered. Injuries that would leave most warriors incapacitated were treated as minor inconveniences by humans. A soldier with a shattered arm would fashion a sling and keep fighting. Another, his body burned by plasma, had joked with his comrades as he laid suppressing fire. To them, pain was not a deterrent but a reminder of what was at stake. Their creativity was just as bewildering. The officer recalled how his unit had been outmaneuvered by a human squad armed with little more than scavenged tools and improvised explosives. His forces had relied on precision and predictability, their strategies honed over centuries of conflict. But humans, they thrived in chaos. Their plans were messy, ever-changing, and impossible to counter. Even in the midst of war, humans displayed an unsettling duality. They fought with ferocity, yet they spared the wounded. They showed no hesitation in destroying an enemy stronghold, but they risked their lives to evacuate civilians, even those of another species. The officer had watched in disbelief as a human soldier shielded an injured alien child with his own body, defying orders to retreat. That kind of empathy was alien to him, an emotion that seemed incompatible with the ruthlessness humans displayed in battle. As the officer sat among his captors, he realized that humans weren't driven by conquest or greed like so many other species. They fought because they had to, because their very existence was forged in struggle. Their history was one of constant adversity, from surviving on a planet that seemed designed to kill them to enduring centuries of internal conflict. They had been tempered by fire, and now they stood unbroken, ready to face any challenge the galaxy threw at them. What terrified him most was the thought that humanity's potential was still untapped. They were a young species, their technology primitive by galactic standards. Yet they had already achieved what older, more advanced civilizations could not. They had become unstoppable. Their adaptability, their unpredictability, and their sheer will to survive made them the galaxy's most dangerous force. The officer's final thought, as he met the gaze of the human commander, was chillingly clear. Humanity wasn't just a warrior species. They were the storm that reshaped everything in their path. The battlefield was quiet now, the echoes of war fading into the stillness. Smoke hung heavy in the air, and the ground was scorched, littered with the remnants of alien machinery and human ingenuity. Against all odds, the human forces had prevailed. They stood battered but unbroken, their resilience as evident as the devastation around them. For the surviving alien forces, it was not just a loss, it was a lesson. Humanity had not fought with overwhelming firepower or superior technology. Their victory had been forged through tactics, tenacity, and an unrelenting will to win. They had faced impossible odds and turned them into a challenge to overcome. Every weapon, every plan, every sacrifice had been calculated to push them one step closer to victory. To the aliens who had observed from a distance, humanity's actions defied expectation. Most species retreated when outmatched. Humans adapted. Most armies relied on sheer numbers or advanced machinery. Humans relied on their minds. Where others saw obstacles, humans saw opportunities. It wasn't their tools that made them dangerous. It was their ability to wield those tools in ways no one could predict. But what struck the alien survivors most was humanity's purpose. They fought not for conquest or destruction, but for survival and principle. Their victories were not celebrations of domination but affirmations of their right to exist. For all their ferocity in combat, there was a strange nobility in their actions, a balance between relentless aggression and an unwavering sense of morality. In the aftermath, a human diplomat arrived to deliver a message to the Galactic Assembly. The alien delegates, still shaken by the reports from the front lines, listened intently. The diplomat's words were calm, measured, and unyielding. Humanity did not seek war, he explained, but they would not shy away from it. They desired peace but would never compromise their freedom or the safety of their own. The galaxy had assumed that humanity's potential for violence made them a threat, but it was their capacity for unity that truly made them formidable. Humans could set aside their differences, rally around a shared cause, and channel their combined strength toward a singular goal. No other species had demonstrated such an ability to unify in the face of adversity. And yet, for all their might, humans did not revel in their victories. They mourned their losses, rebuilt what had been destroyed, and sought to make allies of their former enemies. To those who feared them, this was the most baffling trait of all. A species capable of such destruction could also create, heal, and inspire. They were warriors, yes, but also builders, dreamers, and explorers. The aliens left the assembly hall with a sobering realization. Humanity was not the greatest threat to the galaxy because of their weapons or their wars. They were the greatest threat because of their potential to lead, to inspire, and to reshape the galaxy. They weren't just survivors of adversity. They were masters of it. And for better or worse, the galaxy would never be the same.